Hello and welcome to Palace Weekly. I am your host, Mark Francis. This is the show where we take the best bits from the week that were featured on Palace Intrigue and try and bring you a little abbreviated, shortened version of all the highlights. And if you like those extended stories, please go back to the original Palace Intrigue daily versions during the week. And here we go. Radar Online suggested Harry would like to have more kids, but Meghan isn't interested. Prince Harry, insiders say, is quietly yearning to expand the family, a desire that has not been warmly received by his wife, the Duchess of Sussex. She's so laser-focused on building her lifestyle brand as ever, and adding a baby to the mix just doesn't make sense. Many speculate Harry cannot be too happy about Meghan sharing photos of the children. Ingrid Seward told The Sun, "They've spoken about social media and how damaging it can be, especially for young kids, and how worried they are about it." And then the next thing you know is Meghan is posting quite personal, very charming pictures of her husband and the children all over everywhere through her Instagram account. So it just doesn't make sense. I would love to know what Harry thought, but I suspect he might be a little uncomfortable because Harry isn't really a great self-promoter, unlike his wife, who is. I think he would prefer to be a little more circumspect about who saw photographs of him and his family, but I can't imagine that Meghan would have done it without his knowledge. However, an insider floated a different theory to the Daily Mail, saying Harry is completely heartbroken. His dad refuses to see him or the kids, not even on Zoom. It's a last resort. He's tried everything, calls, letters, but nothing's worked. This is his way of saying, look at what you are missing. Meanwhile, Harry has reportedly left Palace insiders utterly bewildered after claims emerged that he wants his children, Prince Archie and Princess Elizabeth, to retain their HRH titles so they can decide for themselves one day whether to become working royals. According to The Guardian, a source close to the Duke of Sussex said the intention was to give the children the choice when they are older, despite Harry and Meghan having stepped back from royal duties and relinquished the use of their own HRH styles back in 2020. In Newsweek, Christopher Bowsey writes under the headline, "The vicious campaign against Meghan Markle must end." Per Bowsey, when Meghan Markle posted a light-hearted video of herself dancing in a hospital room while 9 months pregnant, she probably thought she was sharing a relatable moment that other mothers would appreciate. Instead, within hours, online trolls and conspiracy theorists weaponized it as proof she was never pregnant at all. This nightmare is what Meghan's life has become. Every joyful moment gets twisted into ammunition by people who have made destroying her their full-time job. And we need to talk about what this sustained cruelty has done to a woman whose only crime was falling in love with a prince. The moon bump conspiracy, which claims Meghan faked both pregnancies with prosthetic bellies, represents a special kind of cruelty. This isn't normal criticism. It's psychological torture designed to break someone's spirit. And the worst part, these aren't random acts of cruelty. They're coordinated, monetized, and amplified by people who profit from Meghan's pain. YouTube channels devoted entirely to proving Meghan's pregnancies were fake, generating millions of dollars. British tabloids have built entire business models around tearing Meghan apart, knowing that her name on a negative headline guarantees clicks and sales. Social media influencers discovered that attacking Meghan drives more engagement than any other content they produce. Hatred hasn't just become a business model, it's become an entire industry, with Meghan's suffering as its most profitable product. But the attacks don't stop with Meghan. Anyone who dares to publicly defend her becomes a target themselves. The message is clear. Support Meghan Markle and we'll come for you too. The goal isn't just to hurt Meghan, it's to isolate her completely. They want her to look around and see no allies, no defenders, no one willing to brave the storm to stand with her. Meghan's evening routine includes a glass of wine. Some more tidbits from a podcast appearance last week. We learned that Meghan and the children have been selling fruit and vegetables from the family's Montecito garden at a local farmer's market in California. Interestingly, this seems to have gone without the paparazzi noticing, a feat in itself. Megs explained that the weekend stall is meant to teach the youngsters the value of money and hard work. There's a cost and price for things, and I think that's key for children to understand, especially children who are very lucky to have a home that has privilege. You need to know that, just like manners and taking care of things around you, there is a value on things. The Duchess of Selling also shared one of her own end-of-day rituals. The kids are in bed by around 7. I go downstairs, have a glass of wine, and prepare their lunch. I find joy in it. It can be therapeutic. That, for me, is one of my simple pleasures. Harry and Meghan were criticised for not commenting on the civil lawsuit filed last week against their friend and Lilibet's godfather, Tyler Perry. Actor Derek Dixon is seeking $260 million in damages, alleging Mr. Perry subjected him to sexual harassment and assault while he was working on the BET dramas Ruthless and The Oval. Mr. Perry's lawyer, Matthew Boyd, has dismissed the claim as a scam and says the producer is confident it will be promptly disproven. More Palace in just a moment. Kate has found solace in Sophie's friendship at royal events in years past, with the dynamic duo even occasionally dressing in complementing outfits when stepping out together. Sophie and Kate were seen looking dazzling at Garter Day, wearing matching pastel ensembles as they reminded royal onlookers of their tight-knit bond. The sisterly friendship between Kate and Sophie stems back to when Kate first joined the royal family in the late 2000s with her marriage to Prince William, and was fostered by the fact that both women were seen as a safe pair of hands to represent the royal family by the late Queen Elizabeth. The two women have much in common. Not least they were both from non-royal families and held down normal jobs before marrying into the firm. Prince William found himself going viral, and not for royal protocol or a charity gala, but his reaction to a non-alcoholic cider. While visiting the Royal Cornwall show with Aunt Sophie, Will stopped by the Rattler Cider stall, a well-known Cornish brand. When offered a 0% alcohol version of the drink, William didn't hesitate to express his opinion. "Oh, no, I need an original," he said with a laugh. "You can bring out the big guns, can't do the zero stuff." King Charles has revealed an unexpected culinary quirk. He rather enjoys sheep's cheese, served on a digestive biscuit. The monarch made the confession during a visit to Lancashire, where he stopped by Lancaster Castle to take part in a traditional ceremony of the keys and to meet with local food producers. While speaking with Gillian Hale of Butler's Farmhouse Cheeses, the king shared his fondness for the tangy pairing. Though he declined to sample any cheese on the day, Hale said, "We're going to send him some later in a goodie bag. He was so gracious." Charles shook hands with a gorilla puppet. Lest you think this podcast will ever get boring, the king was at a reception at Lancaster House devoted to driving private finance into biodiversity. The monarch watched a short outdoor theatre piece by the Herds, in which life-size animal puppets highlight the impact of climate change. At its close, he cheerfully shook hands with a gorilla puppet before greeting the human cast. Tensions between Charles and William edged into public view after the Sunday Times ran a lengthy pro-William profile. The article headlined, "How Prince William Will Change the Monarchy by Those Close to Him," sets out William's determination to modernise the crown, and in the process highlights a widening gulf with his father. One of William's senior advisors, Jason Nouth, tells the paper he has been thinking about the future for years. This thinking about the next role is, how is this going to be reflective of him? Another insider says the heir intends to take every stone and look underneath it, suggesting a root and branch review of palace structures that some feel King Charles has allowed to ossify. Though no longer a working royal, Prince Andrew continues to live in royal style, quite literally. Despite mounting pressure from King Charles to downsize, the Duke of York remains firmly ensconced at Royal Lodge, the sprawling 30-room mansion in Windsor he has called home since 2003. The late Queen's second son secured a 75-year lease on the Crown Estate property more than 2 decades ago, and he has shown no inclination to surrender it. Not even the loss of taxpayer-funded security, or a rather pointed offer to relocate to the significantly smaller Frogmore Cottage, formerly occupied by Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, has prompted the Duke to budge. According to property expert Robin Edwards, Andrew considers Frogmore not grand enough for him, telling GB News he has refused to leave his lavish mansion and move to the significantly smaller Frogmore Cottage, believing it to be not grand enough. In a moving essay from The Telegraph, Sarah Ferguson has opened up about the lasting emotional scars from her childhood and decades in the public eye. She writes that her mother's sudden departure when she was 12 left her feeling unworthy, contributing to an unhealthy relationship with food and long-term struggles with self-esteem. Now 65, the Duchess says her recent diagnosis of breast and skin cancer forced her to confront dark places in her mind. A visit to Paraclesis Recovery in Zurich helped her explore trauma, complex PTSD, and adult ADHD, conditions she believes are often misunderstood and overlooked, especially in high-functioning individuals. Mike Tyndall is getting personal. The former England rugby star and royal by marriage has announced a new book with his The Good, the Bad, and the Rugby podcast co-host Alex Payne and James Haskell. The trio's follow-up to their first book, Unleashed, will be titled The Good, the Bad, and the Rugby Unlocked. and is set for release on November 6. More Palace in just a moment. Former Cowboys quarterback Troy Aikman told Us Weekly he doesn't run into the Sussexes in Montecito. Troy was promoting his new product, 8 Elite Light Beer. Presumably, to live in Montecito, one must sell easy-to-make-fun-of products. Anyway, Troy said, I haven't run into them, but they are there from what I can gather. I think anyone with a heartbeat knows they're out there, but I'm not hanging with them, that's for sure. The former Cowboys quarterback even cracked that Harry and Meghan probably aren't cracking open his beer of choice. I don't picture them drinking much light beer. A forthcoming Netflix documentary promises to lift the veil on one of Europe's most unorthodox royal romances, that of Prince Martha Louise of Norway and her American fiancé Durek Verrett, a self-styled shaman, conspiracy theorist with a criminal record. Though kept under wraps until now, new details have emerged via Danish outlet Bild Bladet, with an insider confirming the project is still untitled and will premiere in 2025. Marvel Studios is believed to have handed over several £1 million to the Crown Estate in exchange for permission to film scenes for Avengers Doomsday inside the Windsor Great Park. According to a report in the Irish Sun, King Charles has been briefed on the arrangement, which classifies the payment as a park maintenance fee. Several £1 million is chicken feed to Marvel when their movies make billions, a source told the paper, but the money will go to the upkeep of Windsor Great Park, so the King, of course, has a keen interest. Some of the profits of Crown Estates make their way to the royal family, so it's a win-win for everyone. King Charles and award-winning actor Idris Elba are collaborating on a new Netflix documentary marking the 50th anniversary of the King's Trust. The film, now in pre-production and slated for a global release in autumn 2026, will chart the charity's half-century of supporting young people, a mission that has reached more than 1 million beneficiaries worldwide. Elba, best known for Luther, received a small but pivotal grant from the organization in the 1990s, enabling him to train as an actor. Reflecting on that breakthrough, he said, "The King's Trust gave me an opportunity that changed my life. At a time when I didn't have the resources to pursue my ambitions, they offered real, practical support, including financial help that helped me take those first steps to advance my career." Lord Ivar Mountbatten has offered a gentle but pointed lesson in royal nomenclature after the Duchess of Sussex described herself as Sussex during an interview with Mindy Kaling. Speaking to Town and Country, the King's second cousin declared Meghan was completely incorrect, noting that Sussex is a territorial designation, not a surname. They are the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, he said, but actually he's Harry Mountbatten Windsor, and she would be Meghan Mountbatten Windsor. To make the distinction plain, Lord Ivar cited his own family. My brother is the Marquess of Milford Haven, but his surname is Mountbatten, so he's called George Mountbatten, the Marquess of Milford Haven. The reminder underscores a naming convention established by Queen Elizabeth II in 1960, combining Prince Philip's family name Mountbatten with the Windsor dynasty adopted by King George V in 1917. Under that arrangement, Prince Harry, Meghan, and their children all bear the surname Mountbatten Windsor. And there you have it. If you'd like to email us, our address is thepalaceintrigue@gmail.com. Please follow us on Spotify, Apple, or the app of your choice, and leave us a nice review if you're enjoying the show. We like those nice reviews. I'm Mark Francis. My thanks to John McDermott. This is Palace Weekly, and good times.